I think we're live. I think we
Awesome.
are. It's been like only 3 weeks since we've done this, and already how did I do this?
So, Gary, quick question.
Yes.
Have you watched the show Wednesday on Netflix?
Totally. I've been wanting to talk to you about that.
Yeah.
To me, that is what the Munsters should have been.
Yes.
I mean, when I started watching that, and I'm like, wow, man, they really screwed the pooch on the Munsters.
Yeah.
Because they're doing a great job on Wednesday. I love that show.
Oh, it's fantastic. I absolutely love it. And Tim Burton directed it. And he was the right person to choose. It's definitely one of the best TV shows of the year, no doubt. And
I agree.
For those watching this later, me and Gary are obsessed with vintage horror in terms of like the Universal monsters, the Munsters, Addams Family, Hammer horror. Those are our favorites. So I was excited to talk to you, but I waited till I had you in person. So
yeah, that's funny you mentioned that, because every time I watch it, I'm like, I wonder if Josh is watching this.
Oh, totally.
This thing is great, and it's something also both you guys would love it too.
Yeah,
especially Chris. I think you'd really like it.
It's called Wednesday.
Yeah, it's very sarcastic. Wednesday Addams. She's like
Wednesday
the main character. She's
right.
like a little bit older. I mean, she's still a kid. Like, I don't know how old she's supposed to be. At 15, 16, I don't know.
Cool.
Hey, Trevor, how's it going?
Hey,
What's up,
Trevor.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, so tonight we're doing great, Rod. Tonight we're going to be talking about the year in review 2022. What did we buy? What were our favorite reissues? What were our favorite box sets? What were our favorite new releases? If any of us went to concerts, what were our favorite concerts? Anything else music related from 2022 that we want to talk about? Glad to see you, Trevor and Rod and Stevie. We're not abandoning the whole tournament thing, but just because we're kind of winding the year down, this will probably be, I would imagine, one of the last live streams that we do this year. And so, we'll resume our tournament stuff next year.
What's up, Christian?
Hey, Christian.
what's up, bro?
Hey.
Good to see you, dude.
So let's talk about new releases. New being, bands, current artists who put out new music in 2022. If you want to go around, we can just talk about, what our favorite releases were, what we picked up. I know you guys bought way more new stuff than I did, as I'm just kind of looking around at my collection. But Josh, why don't we start off? Because I'm sure you probably, out of the four of us, got the most new music this year. But what was your favorite stuff?
All right, so we're just talking not reissues right now, right? Just new bands. My favorite stuff, the Clutch. The new Clutch is just fantastic. I love absolutely every song. And what I love about it is albums are going back to being like 35, 38 minutes. During the CD age, we had these hour and 20-minute albums. And I know Aaron loves long albums, so I apologize, Aaron. But I love an album that I can digest in 35 minutes. And that Clutch is just amazing. The new Dawes, I love that one. That was great. Not my favorite Dawes, but still a little bit more jam band on that, but still great. The new Elvis Costello, that one is great. And I know Jeff's going to talk about this, so I won't mention it. And I actually don't own it on vinyl yet, but the Tears for Fears, the new Tears for Fears, that thing has been on my iPod or iPhone on repeat. It's just great. But those are probably some of my favorite albums of the year.
All right. Yeah, no, I'm glad we had a couple of overlaps there between the two of us, because I always feel like, Josh lends some credibility to anything new that I buy. If Josh has it, then I know I'm in the right direction. But Gary, how about you? What did you pick up new release wise this year?
Well, a couple of ones he mentioned are, because, it's already, kind of going through my head. I assume, we'll probably all do an end of the year type video on our channels, maybe our favorite albums of the year. And I've been kind of trying to think of it. The Clutch will definitely be there. The Tears for Fears will be there. This is, I love the new Billy Idol, even though it's an EP. It's just like, like the one he did last year. It's only 4 songs, but they're all good. And I'm really happy for Billy Idol and Steve Stevens. I know this sounds corny and stupid, but I'm really happy for these guys that they still are creative and can still produce quality music. It's not just, okay, well, let's make an album, kind of thing. It's no, let's make some songs that are, damn good. And I think that's great. Chris will testify to this, that Saxon put out a kick-ass album, and it's just, I think him and our reviews of that album were pretty much the same thing. I think we both kind of are saying Saxon should not sound this good at this point of their career. They have no right to be kicking this much ass. It is just a solid rock and roll metal album. I love it. The Surfer Jets finally put out a full-length album. I love it. That's terrific. Right now, I am just totally buzzing on the Larkin Poe Blood Harmony album. That's just fantastic. And what Ozzy, he actually put out a good album. The last one he put out was very mediocre, and this one is pretty solid. Queensryche has got a great album out right now, so there's all kinds of new releases out there.
I haven't heard anybody talk about Iron Maiden Shizitsu yet.
Well, that came out in 2021, right?
Yeah, at the end of 2021, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, it feels like it was just yesterday.
It does.
Well, you know what? It would take this long to listen to the album, so.
It came out last year, but I finally finished it.
I'm still listening to it. It's funny, you buy a lot of records when you have to have Josh remind you of what you bought. I'm like, Josh, what did I get again this year? But like kind of to piggyback on what Gary was saying, there was a lot of great hard rock heavy metal releases this year. Gary had mentioned the Saxon record, which is great. Creator came out with Hate Uber Alles, which if you like German thrash, they're another band that really hasn't lost a step. The great Voivod, the Canadian prog metal band, came out with Synchro Anarchy this year, which was great as well. So a lot of cool metal releases. In the folk genre, one of my favorites, and I know I've turned a couple of you guys on to Janice Ian. She came out with an album this year called Light at the End of the Line.
I still don't have that.
Which supposedly is going to be her last record. And if she's going to go out, it's a great way to go out because it's a great album. And this is something new that I just got turned on to. The folk psychedelic artist Donovan is releasing an album this year, and the first single has David Gilmour playing guitar on it.
Wow.
Nice.
Which I thought was pretty cool. So I've listened to it on Spotify, and it's typical Donovan. So again, if you like Donovan, you're probably going to dig this tune. But I thought it was cool that David Gilmour is playing on it.
Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah. Oh, the other one, the band Off released Free LSD, and that's a really, really cool record because Off, comes from that sort of let's bring back that early 80s punk thing. But with the new album, they're kind of bringing in this free jazz aspect to their music, which I thought was really cool. But I want to talk about Dawes for a second, because the new album, I spun it a couple times. I don't think I've listened to it since I spun it. And it's not that I didn't like it. I don't think it grabbed me as much as the other albums that I have by Dawes. But you're right, Josh. It's got a jam band quality to it, but I'm interested. I might put it on this weekend to see what I think about it now, because it might be one of those records that I needed to let settle for a second and then listen to it.
Right. Absolutely.
but it was a good it's a good record. But for whatever reason, I don't know, it just didn't grab me as like a couple of the other ones do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
that was one I had to listen to like 3 or 4 times, and then it was almost like a light bulb went off. Like, oh, this album's amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
And then like
Yeah.
all the songs stuck with me, and now they're like in my head. And I'm
Yeah.
like up at 2 in the morning, and I have a Dawes song playing like in my head. But
You
yeah.
know what's so funny is my brother was watching a podcast. My brother had no idea who Dawes was, and they were talking to the singer and playing clips. And my brother calls me and he's like, "Oh God, Josh, I heard a band that is built for you. They're so you." And he's like, "Their name is Dawes." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I've been listening to those guys for 10 years, Dan." Like, it's amazing how many people don't know them, you know. And but I'm glad people are discovering them.
Now I would assume Dawes was probably big fans of the Dead. I would assume.
You'd have to think, but you know, it's funny because their first couple albums, they were so folky and like almost like 70s rock. Like I felt like, oh, they must be heavily influenced by the Eagles. But when you see them live, they have like a ferocity about them, if that's the right word. Just like they're much more intense, you know.
Yeah.
But
You know,
yeah, lots of 70s rock, I think.
One
It's gotta
other
be their biggest influence.
One other one I want to interject in there real quick, because when I was talking about Billy Idol and still, you know, making good music like that, another band that did that for me was The Fix. The Fix put out an album that totally under the radar this year, and it's a fantastic record.
Yeah.
And I got to second what all you guys are saying about the new Clutch. I thank you to Aaron for turning me on, and I know he turned you guys on to Clutch as well, or maybe you knew about Clutch. I don't know. But yeah, the new Clutch record is great, and I like what you were saying, Josh, about the shorter records.
Yeah.
And maybe Maiden should listen to the new Clutch record.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is too is that, like, I don't know about you guys, but because I still have the boys living at home, you know, and Landon's only 6. Sometimes it's like, okay, I've got an hour to myself before I've got to go be a dad. So like, it's hard to pick an album that you know is like a double LP. You know, it's like, okay, this is quick, it's awesome, it's heavy.
Yeah.
And so I gravitate to it. So.
Yeah.
But I think too, when an album's shorter, it makes you almost want to. If you get through it, it makes you want to listen to it again because you're like, oh, it didn't take very long, and it was kick ass. I'm gonna throw it back on again. So,
and
I agree.
you know, to Gary's point about Billy Idol, like I love both those EPs. They're fantastic. And yeah, I'm looking forward to a full length Billy Idol album. But you could slap those things on, and 20 minutes later, you're ready to roll. You know, it's like,
yeah.
New Black Keys is great. I didn't know they had a new album out, but I'm not like, I don't know. I should be more into the Black Keys, I guess. But it's sort of like, I don't even know where I would start. You know, they've got so many albums out by this point. But Josh, have you heard Suki Waterhouse's debut album from this year?
no.
Okay, that's a recommendation from Stevie. Recommended that one.
Awesome.
Yeah, Christian, we'll be talking about, I'm sure we'll be talking about the Kiss Creatures of the Night, and we'll also be talking about that Revolver box set, because I'm sure one of us picked that up. So yeah, in terms of new stuff that I got, the top 3 for me, and I'm saying top 3 because I only bought 3 new releases this year, so it's an easy list to compile. But number 1 for me was that Tears for Fears, The Tipping Point. And that was the first time I heard it, it was kind of like, whatever, you know. And then I heard it again. And, you know, sometimes I'll hear an album for the first time and I'm just not in a good mood. You know, I'm just not feeling it. And then the next time I listen to it, I'm like, holy crap, this album's incredible. And that's how I felt about the Tears for Fears. Same way with the Dawes. First time I heard Dawes, that album, you know, I thought, well, it's good, but we'll see. And then, you know, a couple more listens and I was totally hooked. So I really like that one. And then the Elvis cut, well, I don't know why I'm not showing some of these, but Costello, A Boy Named If. This has got, you know, it's 2 records, but it's really only like 12 songs long. You know, and it's like a return to form for Elvis Costello. it's like an update of the great stuff that he was doing in the late 70s and early 80s. So I was really happy with that album. But yeah, I mean, I figure I probably got to pick that Clutch record up.
Oh, you haven't picked up the Clutch record yet?
No, I just haven't. There's just always been
Now,
something.
don't shame him, Chris.
Come on,
Yeah,
Jeff.
I know. I'm like the
Yeah.
last of the party,
You
right?
haven't picked
Oh,
it up.
yeah. Come on. Let's go.
Yeah,
No,
I
Jeff-
know.
Jeff's
I know.
busy
It's on my
doing the
list.
Rolling Stones videos.
Yeah, it's on my list. I know. I've been busy.
You won't tell Aaron.
Yeah, no, don't hurt his feelings. But and it's not that I don't like it. I liked everything I've heard. It's just, one of those things. It's like, well, I'm gonna get around to buying it one of these days. But there's always like something else
Totally.
on my list ahead of me.
Yep.
Well, it's not going anywhere. So
Yeah. Am I familiar with the band White Lies? No, I'm. Is that a newer band, Stevie? I've not heard of them.
we know
Right.
White Lion.
Is it the same band? Maybe he just misspelled it.
Yeah, I think he meant White Lion.
Yeah.
Oh,
White Lion.
okay.
Yeah, I've heard of White Lion.
Well, maybe not. Maybe it's a new synth pop band or something like that.
Maybe.
But yeah, no, Christian, you really got to get up to date on Elvis Costello. He's had so much good stuff since Spike was out. As a matter of fact, they've been reissuing some of his stuff, his Warner Brothers stuff post Spike, like Mighty Like a Rose and Brutal Youth, and those albums. After that, Kojak.
And Jeff, Music on Vinyl just released an Elvis Costello greatest hits, not the 80s, like the 90s, 2000. So that might be a good pickup for Christian.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and check out Rod's channel. Rod, the Happy Hippie, the vinyl guy. He's going to be doing a favorite albums of 2022 coming next week. So I'll definitely be looking forward to that one. I know Rod is up on all the coolest hip music, so I'll be probably picking up some stuff that he shows on his channel as well. No, not White Lion. White Lies released their debut in 2000. Were you guys just messing with them, or were you really thinking?
We're just messing with him.
No,
Okay.
We're just messing.
yeah,
I'm rarely serious.
we just really like White Lion.
Yeah, well,
Wait.
I keep meaning to get their debut one of these days.
Fight to Survive.
Yeah, whatever. All right. Well, we just talked about our new releases, and we've had some people weigh in on what their favorite stuff from 2022 was. Let's talk about reissues. I know there've been a lot of great reissues this past year. Josh, what did you get reissue wise? If you can keep it under a half hour.
Yeah, I'll just try to make it fast because I know a lot of people are going to talk about these. But the Beatles Revolver, just absolutely amazing. Sounds fantastic. Pink Floyd Animals, probably my favorite reissue of the year. But then we get a barrage of heavy metal albums that were selling in the $100 to $200 range, all reissued. Rob Halford's solo album, which is just a fantastic album. The Faster Pussycat Whipped, the Bite Down Hard by Britney Fox, the Suicidal Tendencies, How Can I Laugh Tomorrow When I Can't Even Smile Today, Suicidal Tendencies, Join the Army. All of these albums were on my want list, but I didn't want to pull the trigger because they were all over $100, and they all got reissued this year. Just a quick scan, just see if there's any others that I really want to mention, but those were the heavy hitters. Yeah, I think that Pink Floyd Animals, though, definitely my favorite.
Yeah. I agree with that. Animals is amazing sounding. That when I first put that on, and I'm like, oh my God, this sounds so good. And it's such a terrific album too. And so the fact that you get this nice, I always thought my other copy was good too, but this is just a step up. I love it. Same way, Revolver. I felt the same way about that. That was really great. I'm trying to think of some of the others. That Police Greatest Hits, I don't know if you'd want to call that a reissue. Yep. I mean, it's kind of a different greatest hits. Same way with the White Snake They
Oh,
White
yes.
Snake released a greatest hits, remixed, remastered. That sounds terrific. They picked a good selection of songs to put on there. Of course, they got their biggest hits, but they also throw some in there that really weren't big hits. And that's a wonderful sounding record. The Halford Resurrection, yeah, that's Rob Halford's best solo album in my mind. So the fact that they did that it was, it wasn't really high priced either.
Right.
That's another thing I want to say. Resurrection, Beatles, Revolver, and Animals. Those were all reasonably priced records. If you just get the single disc. I'm not talking about any box set or anything like that. I just mean the remastered version of it. Those were all affordable records. So,
absolutely.
I feel like when it comes to remixes, there's either two ways that it goes. Either one, they improve upon the sound tremendously, or it's not the version that you're used to hearing, and it's a different way of hearing it. Like the George Harrison "All Things Must Pass" remix from last year was one that I felt it's definitely a different way of hearing it, and it's not my favorite way of hearing it. It's sort of like they brought George's voice way up in the mix a little too far, I think, because George doesn't have the strongest voice. I don't hate his voice, but it's not the strongest voice. And I feel like Phil Spector did him a favor by putting some of that reverb on there and kind of burying some of his vocals in the mix. And so when his vocals stood out, it's like, oh, okay, well, it's interesting to hear his voice a little better isolated, but I'm just so familiar and happy with the original mix that, I'm only going to listen to that new remix occasionally. Whereas the Revolver that came out this year, I mean, that's going to be my go-to. That's going to be anytime I listen to Revolver from now on, I'm going to be playing, that remix. So, anytime they do a remix, it's in my experience, it's either one or the other.
Yeah, you're so right, Jeff. And Pink Floyd Animals and Whitesnake, I know they're two totally different bands, but you're absolutely right. Both of those remixes and the Beatles were so fantastic. It brought new life to this. And I'm not saying I don't like the old versions, but it brought new life to it. It became my go-to. And I know Aaron put Alice in Chains Dirt. That's another great reissue this year too.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm glad you told me to pick up that White Snake, Josh, because they had it at Walmart for $15, so I picked it up. And you were right; it sounds amazing.
Yeah, because I was never a huge fan of that Steve Vai album. Like, I love the songs, but I always felt like Steve Vai was out of place. Like, his guitar tone just didn't seem to match. So lowering that in the mix, adding the organ, more Hammond organ, made it sound more like the early Whitesnake, the slided in era Whitesnake, and I really loved it.
Yeah.
Before we get to Chris, there's just a couple of comments that I feel people are waiting for us to respond to. First of all, Christian said he's been putting off buying the Pink Floyd Animals release because of all the pressing issues. Have you heard about any pressing issues, Josh, on that?
Definitely. Lots of people have pops and clicks. I think mine has one pop, but nothing terrible. I was really lucky because I heard some people it was awful.
Yeah, I was lucky. My copy didn't have any of that, but I'm sorry to hear that. Rod says he's throwing a shout out to Charles and Lloyd, who is 84 years old and has released 3 albums this year, a trio of trios.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah. Now, the Who Are You remix, when did that come out? I'm not even aware that was.
I saw that comment. I was going to ask you, I didn't even know there was a remix of Who.
Yeah, so they've been doing that for the last few years. The Who, it's an Abbey Road half-speed master, but I didn't know it was a remix. I just thought it was a remaster. But I could be wrong.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy with the copy that I have of that. I don't know that I need to be upgrading that particular album. I did get the Half Speed Masters. They reissued the first 4 Who albums on Half Speed remasters, and those sound pretty good. I was happy with those. But Yeah, that Captain and Tennille, absolutely. That was amazing.
Yeah.
Keyboard, I noticed, like, I love how the keyboard on Level Keep Us Together just sparkle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There were a couple Neil Sedaka reissues this year. Too.
Hey,
yeah. Well, I didn't
what a
even
good
notice.
segue. Right.
Tony Tennille drops the F-bomb during that song, but they must have like mixed it out of the original release. But yeah, very cool.
Yeah, instead of saying love, it's the F word in there.
Yeah, yeah.
That will keep us together.
All right, Chris, what are your favorite reissues?
Well, I don't have this one yet, but I know Josh does. They reissued Number of the Beast.
Yes.
And
Awesome.
I know that there was a little controversy because they took Gangland off and put Total Eclipse in its place.
Yes, sir.
But supposedly, I guess there was I don't know, Josh knows the story better, but they had a choice of what song to put on the record, and I guess they in a quick decision chose Gangland, right?
Yep.
And then kind of later on they realized, I think Total Eclipse probably would have been the better choice.
I think Total Eclipse wasn't completely finished, so
okay.
they really needed to rush it. So yeah.
But I haven't picked it up yet, but I know that there's the live album with that. And what was that one, Josh? Live at
Beast over Hammersmith. So it's
Okay.
live. The concert was recorded like a day or 2 days before
right.
Number of the Beast was released. So you get Clive Burr on drums.
Yeah.
You know, Bruce Dickinson, like his voice isn't blown out. His voice is like fresh. It's like the first date of the tour.
Right.
It's just awesome. It's definitely, I can't say it's better than Live After Death, but it's equally as good.
Yeah, and when I heard about this reissue, I wasn't going to pick it up. I'm like, how can you take Gangland off and put Total Eclipse? But now that I've heard the backstory of it, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then plus you get the live album. And
Right.
I've listened to some clips, and like you said, Bruce's voice, I mean, he is in just tip-top shape with that. This past record store day, the Dead Milkmen reissued Metaphysical Graffiti, which is a killer record. Was always one of my favorites growing up. I also picked up the Suicidal Tendencies reissues. I picked up the Faster Pussycat reissues. I think that those are all because of Josh. And then, I don't know, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong. I think the Monkees reissued Pisces this year, right?
Yeah, they reissued Pisces and they reissued Headquarters, the mono version of both of those.
Yeah, and I picked up the Headquarters box set on CD, and I think they reissued more of the Monkees too, right?
Yeah. That what was it? I forget what they call it. The Run Out Groove.
Yeah.
And those are great.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's a great mix of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I had a discussion with Aaron about the Monkees because he picked up all those Monkees reissues as well. And he shares the same opinion as all of us. He loves the reissues of those Monkees records.
Hey Chris, but speaking of Run Out Groove, both of us picked up the October Rust reissue.
Oh yeah.
That was awesome.
Yep.
That was a great one.
Aaron Mother Alamere said two of his favorites this year are Ugly Kid Joe and Dirty Duchess.
Aaron is completely right. That Ugly Kid Joe is awesome, and the Leather Duchess is awesome. Chris, have you gotten yours in yet?
No, I haven't. I didn't even order it.
Oh man, you gotta order it. I ordered the cassette and the vinyl. The vinyl isn't in yet, but It is awesome. They do a wasp cover on it.
Do they still have the cassettes available?
Yep.
Okay.
And they're super cool.
That's really cool. Yeah, I saw that you had posted that.
Yeah, it is awesome.
I think for most of us, like Jeff and Gary and Aaron and Brandon and I should all thank Josh because I'm going to thank Josh because I find out about these albums because of Josh. Josh, I don't know, nobody knows this because they're not on our, text thread or whatever, but to let everybody know, every day Josh is telling us these albums that are coming out. And that's how I find out about them. He gets us excited about them and we go out and buy them. So probably more than half the records I bought this year were on Josh's, suggestion. So
my only problem with that is Josh tells me so far in advance that I forget about it.
I
By
need
the
to
time
do it
it's
closer.
out, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Josh,
But I'm
it's
like-
probably a week ahead of time, man.
I'm like, shit, another album I need to get. You know,
I know.
Well, speaking of
honestly,
that-
I like it more in when Josh has his videos where he's got like 5 new releases, and like 4 of them I'm like, yeah, I don't give a shit about those, because I'm like, good, I don't have to worry about spending the money on that
Yeah.
one that he said, yeah, I do want that. The others, I like it when he talks about ones I don't care about.
What about
Because
the
when he
UFO?
mentions like 3 or 4 that I really want, I'm like, God damn it, how am I supposed to buy that?
yeah, because the only reason I'm going to buy the Lana Del Rey album is because the cover
Yeah.
that I saw because of JC.
I
So-
must have sent you like 7 pictures.
Yeah, not again, nothing against Lana Del Rey, but
But
that cover,
you buy your albums for the artwork, not for the music, really.
I read Playboy for the articles.
Gary, are you gonna get the UFO 3 LP Super Deluxe Heavy Pen?
I didn't pay. I assume there's probably live material.
It's a double live LP, so it's the original album remixed, and then a double live LP from that tour.
I don't know. That might be a little excessive. When they redid Force It, I got that. I got that reissue, and that had the studio album, a remix of it, and then it had a live album.
Yeah.
With it, but it was a single one, so it wasn't that badly priced. I don't know, with being a 3 vinyl set. I mean, if it's not too crazy, yeah, I'd pick it up.
Yeah, I think Christian's talking to you here, Gary, about the Blondie box set. What did you think of that one, Gary?
I didn't buy it. I mean, I have all those albums, so I mean, I don't have that extra album that came with it. I would have loved it, but I thought that the price was excessive on that thing. Josh told me about that a long time ago, and and I thought, well, yeah, it would be great to have, but I have all those. Well, that's not true. I am missing one of those albums, but when I'll be able to find it at some point for like $12. So certain box sets, if I think I can get decent copies of them, I will wait it out. Now, I will say that was very tempting. I saw some people do some openings, and God love you if you can buy it. Yeah, I totally would, because it would be worth it. Those are great albums that are in that set. So
Yeah.
I just thought it should have came with, I don't know that there was much like live material with that. I don't understand why they didn't have more records of like Blondie from like 1978, around that time period. That didn't seem to be in that set, so unless I'm mistaken, but I'm just going by what I remember.
Yeah,
And
go ahead.
it had another, I know it had a bonus record in there, but I don't think it had like concert stuff, did it?
I think there were 2 box sets. One which was just the studio albums, and then one which was like outtakes from each album. So yeah, but you're absolutely right. I think it just had one additional album. It always drives me crazy when they do box sets of like albums that are easily found and sound amazing. Like, no offense to anybody that bought the Michael Jackson One Step, but to me, the original pressing is a $12 record. I bought it for Carter for $12 mint, and it sounds fantastic. Like the Blondie albums sound fantastic. Those albums were made to sound awesome. Those 80s albums.
I kind of go by something that Jeff said a long time ago, one of his videos. And that's like, when it comes to some of this stuff, I mean, yeah, I can tell the difference if something sounds like shit and if it sounds good, but certain levels of it, my hearing is not the best anyway.
What?
And so does it really make that much sense for me to, spend that much money on this, real high, this sounds so great. And I'm like, well, I can only hear part of it, but so, I mean, sometimes I got to be reasonable.
Right.
But box sets are fun to open up though. I do want to get the, see, here's the thing with that one and with the Iron Maiden, the only reason I want those is for the live records in there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm perfectly fine with my studio album that I already own.
Well, this
My
is just the
Creatures of the
single
Night
disc version.
sounds fine. My Number of the Beast sounds fine. But I would love to have those live albums. And I almost, instead of buying like a handful of records, I would have bought that one box set of either one of those. But, like I said, I had to buy a couple gifts. So I couldn't really just spend all my money on me. But I'm not saying that after Christmas, I'm not going to pick one of them suckers up. So.
Yeah, 3Dimension of Music was talking about that LA Woman box set that came out in RSD back in the spring, and I've got a version of that. It's the original album on vinyl, and then the bonus stuff is on a couple of CDs. So I've got that version. So I didn't pick the RSD release because I felt like it's already buying something that I already own, which since when has that ever stopped me? But
Yeah, we've watched your videos.
yeah, but there was just certain RSD stuff that I had on my wish list ahead of that, so I did not pick that up. And then George had asked about that McCartney 45 crate that's coming out. No, I'm probably not gonna. I mean, I've got some 45 box sets, but I need another one. Like, I need another pressing of Sgt. Pepper. I'm probably not gonna do it. It's too expensive. If I'm gonna lay down any serious money in January, it's gonna be for that Rolling Stones mono box set that's coming out, which is already over $400. So I have to figure how I'm gonna be able to afford that.
That's a car payment.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's like some serious money to lay down, but that's one of those things that you buy it today and then in a month it's gonna already be like, more in price. In a year from now, it'll be like double in price. I don't know. I just see it being like, I wish I would have picked up the original mono set back in the day because that's, so expensive right now. But, speaking of the Rolling Stones, one of the reissues that I got this past year, which I didn't even talk about on my channel, I don't know why. I just never got around to doing a video about it, was this live at the El Macambo. It's that double CD set from 1977. There were 4 tracks released on the Love You Live album back in the 70s, but this full concert was never issued before on CD. And I'm enjoying that. They've got, quite a range of songs on there. The sound quality is great. Nice to hear them in a small club. That's one of those concerts they did unannounced. It was supposed to be a band called the Cockroaches. They had April Wine that opened up for them. Of all bands, and then they just did like it's like a 90-minute set. I mean, it's a really great concert in a small venue, so it's not like one of their stadium tours. But I'm sure Mazzy did. I'm sure he showed off the McCartney crate. Aaron bought the 3 vinyl box set that was just released. I know Chris was showing off the single version of that. How was the sound quality of the Ramones box set?
You mean their Sire records?
Yeah.
Was that released this year?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So, I think the sound quality is good. I mean, I'm not familiar with original pressings of those records, but to me, they sound really good.
Mm-hmm. And then anyone get into the Smile album? Are you talking about the Beach Boys Smile album? I'm not aware.
No, it's members of the Ramones, not the Ramones, the Radiohead, their side project, and it's actually really good. I haven't bought the physical format of it, but I've been listening to it all year, and it's really good. Yeah,
it's funny. My mind always goes to the Beach Boys, but okay. Yeah, well,
I did too when I said that.
But the vinyl set. I bet the vinyl sounds great too. Rush moving.
Hey, Greg, how much was that? The vinyl set of that. I would love to have that on vinyl.
I think it's like $40 or $50. It's not cheap.
Yeah, but actually, I figured it would be more than that. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't know. I can look it up on Amazon. See, I got the CD version just because
because it honestly, like, if you can wait. Like, I know that I had Michelle cancel the Tom Petty box set because I was like, and I'm dying to own that. But 5 days after it got released, it dropped in $10 by $10. I just have a feeling that if I wait another 30 days, it'll drop by $30. You know, there was one point this year that the toolbox set, which had a retail value of $170, they were selling for $59. So like, if you wait long enough, Amazon's gonna drop these prices. Now, as you guys know, one of my friends owns a record store. The downside to that is he showed me for him to order the toolbox set right now, it would cost him $130 to order it to sell in his store. So Amazon is selling these things below cost. They're buying the overstock at such ridiculous prices that nobody can compete. But that's, once the Stones box set is 16 records. If it drops to $320, which essentially would be $130 off, which is a distinct possibility, that's $20 an album. At that point, I'll definitely buy it.
Yeah. It's $65 on Amazon right now, Gary.
And that Ramones box set has dropped in price too.
Yeah, I've seen that. I'm down to 2 records, and then I'll have the Ramones box set.
Do you have Brain Drain?
Brain Drain and Halfway to Sanity I need. Those are the 2 I need. So
I thought you showed Brain Drain. Oh, you showed the CD of Brain Drain?
Yes, I just showed the CD recently.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got them all on some format, just not necessarily on vinyl.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fleetwood Mac Alternatives. What?
Fleetwood Mac Alternative Studio Collection box set that just came out on RSD. I don't know if I saw that one or not, but
it's pretty epic. It's awesome.
Is it? What album is it?
It's every album. So every year what Fleetwood Mac has been doing is releasing the album with alternate takes for each song, and they collected all of their studio albums, their alternate takes, and this even their live album has alternate live cuts.
Really?
Yep.
Now, that would be great. That'd be awesome to have.
But the other reissues that I got besides the Rolling Stones, obviously the Beatles, Revolver. I bought both those super deluxe sets. Couldn't be happier with those. The Rolling Stones, their singles collection. I was able to, that's when I was talking about 45 box sets that I have. This is one of the few ones that I would actually lay down money for. I hope they come out next year with a, 1966 through 1969. But I guess we'll see about that. Animals reissue obviously was fantastic, but yeah, those are my favorite ones that were released this year. And that Pink Floyd actually had 3 albums released. They reissued Piper on the Gates of Dawn and Saucer Full of Secrets in Mine. And then they did Animals, but I think Animals was the one that everybody is talking about. So,
I forgot that they had reissued Pipers at the Gates of Dawn.
And I picked up Piper and Saucer Full of Secrets, and I forgot about that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, Tony said it just goes to show. Revolver, originally the box set was selling for $300. Now it's dropped to $235. So, yeah, I'm hoping, as we get closer to January, because, Amazon's got that where they'll give you the lowest price before it's actually released.
Did you pre-order it, Jeff?
I did not. I haven't pulled the trigger on it yet. I'm going to see what position I'm in financially after Christmas is all said and done. So, I'm not sure, but it's definitely one I want. If it breaks the bank, I will probably still find a way to pick it up because I don't want to pass on it again. I already passed on it once, and
I've got plasma to give.
Because right now it's $428.
Yeah, I know. That's a huge chunk of cash.
For every $100 spent, $10 gets added to your account. It has been a great thing to save them. That's pretty cool, Greg. Yeah, but Greg also buys a whole bunch of CDs and stuff in the basement of churches and whatnot. He's one of these guys that gets 50 CDs. He's like you, Josh. Josh goes into Savers and goes, "Oh, look, I found these Beatles records for $1 each."
Totally.
What do you know?
Oh, so Josh just reminded me of the Voivod reissue of Nothing Face.
Yeah.
which was great.
Mhm.
Pick that up.
Yeah. All right, concerts. You guys want to talk about concerts that you've been to? If you haven't been to many, you can talk about all of them, or maybe just what your favorite ones were. But I know Gary, you've done quite a few reviews of concerts that you've been to on your channel this
Yeah.
year.
Probably three of them that stick out right now would be well, I saw the Surfer Jets twice, so I got to throw that in there. That was great. You know, they're a great young band. And I saw a tour that had Kenny Wayne Shepherd, Samantha Fish, and Ali Venable all in it, and that was just a terrific night of rock and blues. I mean, just some amazing guitar work there. Jeff Beck with special guest Johnny Depp. Those are like some of the shows that really stick out. That was just great. I mean, you guys know I love Jeff Beck, and it was really fun too because my wife went to the show because Johnny Depp was there. So she really loved it. She loves Johnny Depp. You know, got a big crush on him and everything. And he was pretty cool. You know, when he came out, I mean, Jeff Beck played for probably like an hour before Johnny Depp ever came out. And once he came out, though, it was a very cool show. I really enjoyed it. So, you know, and I saw other ones that were really good, Burning Witches and stuff. But those three kind of stick out in my head.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Chris, what have you seen this year?
I've seen a few cool ones. I saw Bob Mould from Husker Du. I saw him live, and he put on a great show in a small. I've got the place is called Daryl's House near me. It's owned by Daryl Hall, and he has a live venue about a half an hour from me, and he gets quite a few cool bands in there. So that's where I saw Bob Mould. I also saw They Might Be Giants there, which was a great show. They actually performed the whole album Flood. I'm actually wearing the t-shirt. Saw Overkill. And what's cool about that was that they opened their tour in Poughkeepsie
Cool.
back in March. So I saw the opening night of that tour, which I thought was pretty cool. And then I saw Henry Rollins, and he wasn't singing, but he did basically a talking show. So he's a great performer, whether he's singing, screaming, or just talking. He's just a very bright guy. Definitely quirky, but he's got some really cool stories about when he was in Black Flag. And I thought it was interesting because he told the story about how he worked at Haagen-Dazs before he joined Black Flag. And he's like, I don't want to work at Haagen-Dazs my whole life. He's like, I want to join Black Flag. And he went to all their concerts, and finally he got a chance to get up on stage and sing with them. And then they took him into the band. But then he was talking about how, Black Flag was making no money. They had no food. So they had to go and they were basically taking food out of the garbage and eating it. So he was talking about that. And I don't know, he just has a lot of really cool stories. And it's just one of those lives where you're like, wow, he has had a crazy life. But that was really cool.
Oh.
Cool.
Yeah.
John Hyatt, Buddy Guy, and Jack White. Holy cow. That's
Awesome.
quite
Yeah, I see Buddy Guy's going on his farewell tour this year. I just saw that.
He and Janice Ian are both on their farewell tours.
Well, I was supposed to see Janice Ian, and then she canceled she was playing in Woodstock, and I had tickets, and she canceled it because of her voice. And then I was also supposed to see Off at this tiny place near me, and I guess something happened with their drummer, so they're going to be rescheduling that. So I'm hoping they reschedule that for next year. But those were two concerts I was really looking forward to seeing, and they got canceled.
Another show I want to throw in real quick was I saw a show. It's funny because I didn't even stay for the headliner, But the opening bands with John Corabi did an acoustic show, and it was kind of like a storytellers, because he, in between songs, he was telling stories and stuff, and that was kind of cool. Just hearing him talk about different things like that. And then Zebra, the band Zebra, came on after him, and that was a band that I first heard when I was in high school, when their debut album came out, and one of those bands I never got to see, somewhere along the road, and all of a sudden here I was 40 years later seeing them, and they still sounded great. I was just blown away by that. So that was a really fun show too.
Josh, what did you see?
So I saw LA Guns and Faster Pussycat. That was one of the first shows I saw this year, and that was fantastic. There was like no backing tracks. Both bands really killed. They did all of the songs we really wanted them to do. So that was a great show. I saw Lucero again, probably my favorite show of the year. The opening act was a band called L.A. Edwards, three brothers from California. Their harmonies were just amazing. Lucero always kills. They're definitely designed to be a live band. I saw the stadium tour, which was Joan Jett, Poison, Motley Crue, and Def Leppard. And I can honestly say that Joan Jett was the best out of all of them, and Poison was the second best. And I love Motley Crue and Def Leppard more than I love Poison. But Poison they came out and they were so energetic and they were so happy to be there. And you could see on their faces, they were just elated, and it was infectious. So I will tell everybody that hates on Poison, like, there's a band that still appreciates that people come out and see them. Yeah, so that was a good show, but definitely not my favorite of the year. And then I saw Wasp and Armored Saint. It was really cool that it sucked that John Bush couldn't sing, and but it was cool that they got Jason McMaster from Dangerous Toys to sing. So at least it was somebody I knew and someone that I appreciated as an artist. But Blackie Lawless, he was awesome. I know some people say he's using backing tracks, but it sounded, for the most part, besides the gang vocals, it sounded like he was singing to me. I think that the backing tracks are probably like when he's, at the chorus. But yeah, I enjoyed that show too. And I was with my brother. I never get to hang with my brother. So yeah, those are the best shows of the year. I did see some other shows here and there, smaller things, but those were the big ones.
Awesome. Nice. Now, did you see, you mentioned you saw the stadium tour.
Yep.
Which is cool. I just saw that for next year's stadium tour, it's still going to be Def Leppard and Motley Crue. And I don't know if there's what the fourth one's going to be, but I see that Alice Cooper is going to be on the bill.
Wow. I didn't know.
I guarantee you Alice Cooper will blow Def Leppard and Motley Crue off the fucking stage. There's no doubt in my mind. He has the most kick-ass band, and I know he's in his 70s now, but I can tell you right now, I mean, he's going to make Motley Crue look like dog shit. He toured with them. I don't know. It's been a few years back. I think it was when on Motley Crue's farewell tour type thing. And I had a friend that was going to that, and, he's a big Motley Crue fan. And he said, yeah, Alice Cooper's opening up. And, and I go, oh, Alice Cooper will be good. And he goes, how old is Alice Cooper? And he's giving me crap. And he came back from the show and he goes, you know what? He said, Alice Cooper blew Motley Crue right off the stage. He said his show was so much better. And I'm like, yeah, well, Alice Cooper still brings it, and his band brings it. So
yeah,
that'd be, I'm just curious who the fourth act will be, or if there is a fourth act. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
who's hating on Poison? Come on now.
I don't know. Does somebody hate on Poison?
I mean, look what the Cat Drag did.
Yeah.
Open up and say,
I'm just happy. I got Josh into Faster Pussycat this year. I sent him Wake Me When It's Over, and he was totally hooked. And then I'm like, you got to buy Whipped. Whipped is an all-time classic, and he picked that one up. And
Yeah.
He was so appreciative that I turned him on to that. But yeah, in terms of concert, I was lucky enough to see the Monsters of Yacht Rock tour over the summer. You had Ambrosia, Little River Band, Jay Ferguson, Rupert Holmes, Little River Band, Orleans, Pablo Cruz. It was an all-star lineup. 3 different stages. It was just fantastic. So I'm real.
I love the way you came up with those names that quick. Have you been thinking about that while we were talking, or did that just pop into your head?
I think he wrote it down.
You were kind of thinking.
You don't think it was? You don't think I really saw them? But then no, I did see Elton John as well at Comerica Park, which was incredible. And I really had low expectations going into that concert because I thought he's going to be doing a bunch of his new stuff. He's probably going to do just a handful of stuff from the 70s, but it was all 70s stuff. He had the classic Elton John band with him. He was wearing the assless chaps, prowling around the stage in those.
Nice.
But still an incredible, even his voice, it's not what it was, but it's certainly not terrible either, but and the band sounded great. So that was definitely the highlight of my summer. But yeah, Tony Boz Skaggs. Boz, I mentioned Boz too, but yeah, he and the Doobie Brothers and
I thought you said you saw Seals and Crofts this summer too.
Hey, on that.
Yeah, no, that was separate. They weren't on that tour. I saw them on a separate show. They were they did like a small. They're doing a tour of small clubs, just an acoustic set.
Yeah.
So that was special too.
Yeah.
They did one of those, an evening with Seals and Croft.
Yeah. They had John Ford Coley opening up, and England Dan. That was the opening. Dan Fogelberg. No, I'm just kidding.
Dan Fogelberg played Phoenix in its entirety.
Yeah, even though he's been dead like 5 years, but yeah, they had him on because they did a Dan Fogelberg tribute and they had him on the jumbo screen behind them. They did leader of the band in tribute.
Yeah.
All right, we lost. Okay, Josh is backstage. He's in the green room. All right, everybody. I would like to welcome to the stage Josh Costa. Here we go.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right, Josh, plug whatever you're working on.
I want to see Bread in concert. I hope Bread comes.
Bread rules.
Or yeah, they do.
I have their box set.
I want to make it with you. Yeah.
So Gary, just because I missed part of it, I know you said Alice Cooper was going to be on a stadium tour, but you don't know if Joan Jett's going to be on it?
No, I don't. I doubt it. My guess is, they're going to change it up because it's usually those other couple bands that they change up. So I don't know. Maybe unless Poison is on it again, but I don't think so.
I don't know because Bret Michaels is doing some Party Gras tour where he's touring with Night Ranger and Jefferson Starship.
Yeah,
because when I think Poison, I think Jefferson Starship.
Hey, you know what? I will say, Vance Zep Pearl just put up a thing there. He just went and saw Jefferson Starship and somebody else, but he put up some clips of it. And Mickey Thomas still sounds really good live. I was, I kind of like you, Chris. I just like, but he was up there singing, and I'm like, dang.
Did they play Red Octopus in its entirety?
I don't know. He only had clips on there, but I will say now I was watching it on my phone, so it's very small. But they have some younger woman doing the part of Grace Slick. Kind of looked like she might be kind of hot. I don't know.
I'm a fan of Jefferson Starship, the makeup years, personally.
Yeah,
that's just me.
Jane.
Did the new girl show her white rabbit?
Chris, this is a family show. Why do you have to do that every time?
Yeah, Tony said Brad was going to tour with the Jam.
The Jam.
I I don't think I've ever listened to Pablo Cruz. What the hell is Pablo Cruz singing again?
Love will find a way. That's what they. I mean, I will give it that they lay down a pretty awesome kick-ass groove on that song. And then
Now, honestly, I can't believe that Chris doesn't know Pablo Cruz, because that sounds like one of those bands that you would champion.
Yeah, because you might be the biggest fan and you just don't know it yet.
Maybe.
Yeah, I feel like that would be one of those bands that you would hold and go, now I know people give this band shit, but they're really good. I love me some Pablo Cruz.
Yeah.
Well, there's certain songs which are guilty pleasure listens for me, and I would say that one Pablo Cruz song is a guilty pleasure for me. Like if it comes on the radio, I'm not turning it off, and I will not disclose whether it happens to be on a playlist on Spotify. I'm saying it is or it isn't.
So what are you saying, Gary? That I listen to some uncool music from time to time? Are you gonna go? Wait, okay. When's the Rod McEwen comment coming out?
No, honestly, Chris.
What about the Monkees? All right, let's. Oh no, I love you. You like the Monkees.
Anne Murray.
Anne
The
Murray.
Monkees are cool.
Yeah.
The Monkees are not an uncool band. No, I love that about you. That you take some of these kind of bands that other people might throw away or say they're nerdy. And
Well, let me tell you the real reason. I can afford those albums.
Well, I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
Let's see, Rod. Let's see. Do I buy Rod McEwen for $2 or the Kiss reissue for $30?
I hear you.
Well,
I'm just saying, honestly, that I am kind of surprised that you don't know.
But you guys are probably right. I probably know more songs than I think I.
I can't think of any of the songs right now, but I could totally picture that album. That album cover.
All right, I'm not going to lie. By this time next year, I will have their whole discography.
Yeah, Chris, go look in the dollar bin at your record store. I guarantee you'll find 6 copies of that Pablo Cruz album.
All right.
Just pick one. Pick the cleanest copy up.
Acoustic guitar on one of your live streams.
Yeah, you're gonna incorporate it into your set list for your next gig.
Yeah. Well,
So
somebody already said we the last gig we played live. Somebody was like, "You guys are playing all the songs I'd hear on AM radio," and I was like, "Well, that's like sort of a backwards compliment, I think."
Yeah.
But whatever. I'm sorry, Josh. You were going to say something.
I was just going to say, if there are any albums that you're looking forward to next year or you're hoping get reissued next year.
Didn't they say they were going to reissue The Cure Wish?
Yeah.
I know they just came out with a picture disc of it.
Yep. It comes out in January.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to get that.
Rubber Soul. You know Rubber Soul's coming. They haven't announced it yet, but we'll hear about it around March.
I suspect, and I've got every reason to believe, since we're on the topic of the Beatles, that they're going to do Yoko and Sean are going to put out a deluxe set of Mind Games, just because they've already done Plastic Ono Band. They did Imagine. The next logical album to do would be Mind Games. So I'm kind of, if I had to predict, I would say, they didn't come out with any John Lennon stuff this year. No John Lennon releases. So I got to imagine they got something in the works, and it just might be that one. But yeah, Chris, did you know that Fatboy Slim is releasing the Rod McEwen remixes?
Oh, really?
23, yeah.
And here's my sickness, because I did a video on this, but I've been buying the Rod McEwen Laser Light CDs. Like, remember Laser Light?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is wrong with me? And there's not even Rod McEwen songs on there. They're just compiled.
Curated.
Rod McEwen.
He curated them, man.
I've got a fucking problem.
Well, I love those Laser Light videos that you did showing all your Laser Light CDs.
And I wonder why isn't my sub count going up?
That's the song Aaron reminded us there. Here's the song you would know, Chris.
Okay.
Is What You Gonna Do When She Says Goodbye?
yeah,
What
yeah.
you gonna do when she is gone? That's Pablo Cruz.
There you go.
So these sound like songs that you'd want, like if you were entertaining a girl at your place, you'd put this on.
Yes,
No?
of course.
Will Ferrell's character in Step Brothers wears a Pablo Cruz T-shirt throughout the entire movie.
I think it's a cool name.
Laser light.
Yeah.
It sounds like one of those like laser pointers. That's what I think of. Like laser light. Is that like the laser pointer that the dog and the cat chase the little red?
Well, actually, Laser Light sounds like a band from the 80s. I think they opened for Winger.
Special guest, Laser Light.
Oh, Glenn, don't unsubscribe, Glenn. Come on.
Pretty bad when the Canadians are jumping ship.
I know, man. They're the nicest people in the world.
They really are.
Oh.
We didn't.
All right,
Josh, we didn't talk about box sets. Did we?
No. I mean, I kind of did. I kind of cheated, but go ahead, Chris.
No, I mean, I had mentioned the Ramones box set, but I picked up. I finally picked up the Overkill box set. I don't think that came out in 2022, but I bought it in 2022. Did Skid Row box set come out this year?
No, it was December of last year.
Okay. Well, I bought that this year.
Just do it for Chris.
You got the Johnny
but I know for a fact the Joni Mitchell box set came out this year.
Yes.
I bought that.
And the Johnny Cash.
I saw Laser Zeppelin at the Planetarium in 1983. Hell
I got
yeah.
the
Were
two
you
Fear
high?
Inoculum box
Were you
set.
high,
Was
Tony, when you went?
cool.
Wait. Stevie is saying Sylvia released a new album this year. Is he kidding or is that true? Oh no. Is that true? I gotta look that shit up.
You got to Google it.
Stevie, you might have just made my day. Speaking
Little
of
Feat
crappy,
waiting for Columbus box set.
Yeah. What did you pick up any box sets, Gary?
I don't think I did. Did I show anything, Josh, of a box set? I'm trying to think. I don't think I did. I don't
remember you showing a box set.
No.
It's called Nature Child: A Dreamer's Journey. Ooh, I'm intrigued.
I did not pick that up, no, but I might have to pick that up. I love Sylvia. Speaking of bands that aren't cool and artists that aren't cool.
Little Feat waiting for Columbus. Their live 2-disc album.
Yeah, people say that box set was incredible. That it's never sounded that good.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. The box sets are just getting too expensive anymore, for a bunch of outtakes and live tracks and stuff like that. I don't know. I mean, I'll get the Rubber Soul one for sure. I want to get the Rolling Stones one, but I don't know. Those are like the only artists that I would ever like shell out for kind of an exorbitant super deluxe set.
But I think that makes sense, Jeff, because those records are so hard to find a clean copy. Like it's, if we could find a clean copy of Rubber Soul, you know what I mean? Like we wouldn't have to worry about buying this reissue, right? But the reissues also sound incredible. What they're doing with these remixes. So
Petty
at the Fillmore.
Yeah, I know. I'm dying to get it.
I've seen Sylvia at our county fair back in the day when nobody was a hit.
Yeah, she was the Shania Twain of the early 80s. She's awesome.
Nobody called today. She hung up when I asked
her name, and I wonder. So wait, Metallica's new record comes out next year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm going to say this: I'm not too impressed with the new song.
Oh man, I love it. I totally disagree. Like, here's what I love about the new song. First off, it's short.
Yeah.
Every song doesn't have to be epic. Second off, I feel like it's a mixture of Kill 'Em All and I don't think James, I really feel James has focused on his voice. He's doing less of the and like actually trying to sing. And And to me, like, I cannot get enough of it. I think it's absolutely
Just
the
didn't agree.
best thing that they've done in years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to listen to it again.
Yeah,
I just heard a couple of those ooh things that he does, but
Sounds like a parody to you.
Yeah.
I
No,
don't know.
I really don't think that there's too many oohs in there. Like, listen
Oh.
to it again. I really think it's great.
Listen to it again, Chris.
Listen to it again. You're wrong, Chris. Listen to it again.
Listen to it again. Chris, I know you, brother. Come on, man.
Gary and Josh, one that we didn't talk about, but I think it came out this year. Did the Springsteen that No Nukes concert, did that come out?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it came out December of last year, but it was real late, and that's an awesome live album.
Oh yeah, that's a very fun listen. I was just playing that the other day. to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
So much better than his new album. But
Oh
I
my
will
God.
tell you that the Springsteen interview with Howard Stern was one of the highlights of the year.
I saw some of that.
I feel like Springsteen came off as a real person for the first time in a long time. Because Springsteen, a lot of times when he talks in concert, you feel like, okay, like this is something contrived. He's thought these thoughts out. When he was being interviewed by Howard Stern, I felt like he was real. Like he was saying his true emotions. It wasn't something that he was afraid that was going to get, out there in the universe. And like when he was speaking about his father and speaking about being a dad and saying that like my kids don't need Springsteen, they just need a dad. It's like, oh man, it totally made me love Springsteen even more, that interview. So I just wish he wasn't doing cover albums.
Yeah, that live album though, man, because that's awesome. It's right before The River came out, and what a time period, man. And the sound, it just boom. It's like being at. It sounds just like a live album, like a live
It's
album
awesome.
should. It's great.
You're not a fan of the new Springsteen, Josh?
It's okay. I just don't love it. Maybe I need to hear it like on a physical format, but
Yeah, my thing with it, all I've really heard is 2 songs off of it. It's just I don't have much interest in it. I mean, for him to, you think of Springsteen, and one of the 2 things you think of is a songwriter. He writes incredible songs, and he's an incredible live performer. And the type of songs that he's picking are not ones that I really care to hear him cover.
Right.
They're not that exciting. But like, I don't know. Like you said, I guess if I heard the whole album and gave it a chance, but it just doesn't interest me that much.
Yeah.
Gary, do you like the new Metallica song?
I only listened to it once. I can't give you an honest evaluation.
No, come on.
gang up on Josh.
I
Tell me how it sucks.
It was okay. I'd have to go back and listen again.
Why does it keep coming up Sylvia Rules? I said that once.
Well, if you would stop typing it, it
Quit
would
typing it in all the time.
I get it. Like Sylvia.
We get it.
What about Taylor Swift? You didn't mention that you got.
Oh yeah, I picked up her new album too. That was good as well. Yeah, I'm just picking up all the popular albums.
Yeah.
See, there he goes again, Chris. Come on.
Jeff just wants me to lose subs. I think that's what it is. Well, that's the guy who likes Sylvia. Unsubscribe.
He likes Sylvia and Pablo Cruz.
Yeah. Hey, I also like Metallica Kill 'Em All. Come on.
Yeah.
Does that give me any street cred?
I like Metallica Ride My Puppet.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that in the new year we get the Morrissey reissues, Counting Crows reissues, the Wedding album by Duran Duran. Those are some of the ones that I'm like really hoping.
Well, forget the Morrissey reissues. Can you leave the cover art alone? Like, I hate when he changes up the cover artwork. Like, leave it alone. The original ones were fine. I hate when the people rewrite history by changing their album artwork. Like even the Morrissey albums that you find, that are available, they have different cover artwork than the original, or they've got the same cover artwork, but the font is different, and the title. That just bugs me.
Like I like the artwork for Kill Uncle, but I think they changed it.
Yeah, they changed the font on it. They darkened the cover of Bona Drag. They completely changed Kill Uncle. Like that cover is completely different. It looks ridiculous.
I bought Vauxhall and I this year. I don't know what pressing it is, but that
like he left that artwork alone, which I'm glad. But
yeah, the new Morrissey songs. Someone just talked about his new album. The new song is the closest he sounded like the Smiths since 1988.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll ever see the Wedding album by Duran Duran get reissued, or do you think the tapes were burnt in the fire?
I hope they weren't. I hope we do get a reissue of it.
It's strange because that's certainly an album that people are pining over, and they haven't reissued it.
Do you think they'll reissue the Burton Cummings solo records?
I think that you should speak to Aaron about that.
There's a high demand for them.
See, now that's an artist they need to change the cover artwork.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we were all joking about that the other day.
Yeah, Christian, about the Animals artwork, I'm okay if it's a remix, if it's like a reissue and it's not the only version that's actually available anymore. You can still buy the original album with the original artwork. So I'm okay that they changed up the artwork on that, just like they did when they remixed the Momentary Lapse of Reason a year ago. They slightly altered the artwork on that. I'm okay if it's a remix and they're still making the original issue available. But the problem with Morrissey is you can't get his original albums with the original artwork. The only versions that you can buy now are the ones with that hideous replacement artwork that he puts out there. So yeah, Rich is awesome. Rich is Rich Strickler, who make sure if you're not subbed to his channel, go over and check his channel out. But he's a huge Springsteen fan as well, and he concurs that the Covers album was a big disappointment. So I think I saw that story today. I was in Mobile today and saw that. I'm like, I wonder if that's any good.
This is random, but on the new Kiss album, on the hype sticker, it says a premium tip-on jacket. What the hell is a tip-on jacket? Do you guys know?
Yeah, so the tip-on jacket is where the art goes over. So if you go to the tip, you go to the top of the album, you're going to see the cover art like goes over. See how it's the top of the jacket?
Yeah.
The cover art is like continuing. That's what they're calling a tip-on jacket.
Oh, okay.
I can't believe you didn't know that, Chris.
There you go.
Sylvia Roy. I know, geez, and I call myself a record collector.
Do you think we're gonna see a deluxe Lick It Up?
It's Kiss. You don't know what you're gonna see a deluxe of. I mean,
Yeah, it's probably gonna have like a Ziploc bag of
and sister albums,
Gene Sweat.
Yeah.
You know what? I'd like to see him do something with Unmasked.
Yeah.
Do some outtakes from that, some different versions, some of the demos and stuff. I was always curious what that album would sound like if it was recorded a little different.
I like the recording.
I love it. I love it the way it is, but that's definitely one that could have had a different sonic sound to it.
Yeah, totally.
Sonic sound.
Sonic
sound.
Boom.
So George is blaming Patty for the Springsteen cover.
This is blame Patty.
Patty's awesome.
Somebody had mentioned the new Megadeth, and that is really good. And I think, I'm not going to disagree. That might be a little bit better than the new Metallica, the last one that came out, anyways.
Yeah, I mean the new Megadeth is fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I love it.
Wow. All right. Any final thoughts on 2022 or what you're looking forward to 2023? How about artists that we lost in 2022? Unfortunately, Christine McVie being the most recent
one.
Yeah.
Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Who else? I can't think right now. I mean, I know there's been others.
Well, let me just say, in terms of 2022, one thing I'd like to mention is, Jeff, your deep dive Beatles series was just absolutely incredible. That just brought me hours and hours of entertainment. I'm glad you're doing the Stones because I know even less about the Stones. But fantastic series, and I think it's great, man. I look forward to them every single day.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, you guys are the only ones I can talk about the Beatles with, and anybody gives a shit, you know.
I love it.
Anybody else is like, well, whatever, and they're on their phone, they're not even paying attention. So I do appreciate that, you know, all that useless trivia that I have up in my head kind of gives me an outlet for that. But no, I really appreciate that. I want to give a shout out to Chris's 80s top 10 albums of each year. 80s. I love that series. I think that one is awesome. And I'm also looking forward to 87 because that's one of my favorite years of music.
Yeah, that video should be coming out probably. I'm hopefully get it out Saturday.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to those, buddy. Great.
Now, Josh, did you like when I showed all my laser light CDs?
Yeah. You know what? I have to be honest with you. Better than the laser light was when you had like your epic the Black Flag label. What's their label again?
SST.
Yeah. The epic like 17 video series of your SST collection.
That two people watched.
I watched it. I watched all of it too. Michelle would say things like, "This video's still going?" Yeah, this man has a lot of CDs, and I'm gonna watch the entire thing.
Sure.
Well, and check out Josh's latest entry in Miss 80s contest before it gets taken down by the YouTube police.
And the other thing, for gosh sake, can we get Gary to 1,000 subs, people?
Yes.
I know.
Jesus Christ, he's the best looking guy out of all of us here.
I don't know about
Let's get him to 1,000.
Yeah,
I'm trying to retire, and the only way I can do it is to get to 1,000 subs, so I can start making my millions.
Yep, let's do it, guys.
I'm so jealous of these guys in the vinyl community that are like retired, and they make videos, and you know they just get to sit around and well, I was sitting around doing nothing today, and I decided to make a video. I've been listening to records and stuff, and I'm like, what a life. Yeah, it's just I want that life. I'm
like
ready
my
for
main
that.
man Tony P.
Yeah.
What
do you got?
Well,
I think Tony P should have his wife on one time.
Yeah.
The Queen.
The Queen. She's always upstairs.
Exactly.
Well, Gary, if it makes you feel better, you're closer to retirement than any of us. So, you'll be there soon.
And death. I'm also closer to death. So.
Not necessarily. You don't know the
Well,
life.
that's true. That's true.
Now, Jeff, are you going to do a deep dive on the Monkees?
I was kicking around because it's like, once I do the Stones, what I'm going to do. I'm worried I'm alienating like people who don't like Beatles and Stones on my channel. It's like, oh God.
Well, probably even less people like the Monkees. So.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking of like, Beach Boys, Monkees, kind of the other bands that I'm really passionate about. So
what about a deep dive on Pablo Cruz?
Yeah, Pablo Cruz, maybe some Little River Band, maybe do a Toto deep dive series.
You should do a deep dive on a band that just released like one album.
Yeah, I'll do a Blind Faith series.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Or a deep dive on Wicked Lester.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a deep dive on the Outfield catalog.
Go by find a dollar record and buy like 20 copies of it, but pretend it's 20 different pressings.
Yeah.
And this is the French pressing of Pablo Cruz.
Yeah.
This is a one step. This is the half speed. This is the 3/4.
Here's something I'd like to see in 2023. I would like to see our good friend Aaron do a video where he does his top 10 albums of all time. not any specific genre, just his top 10 albums. And I would like to see that.
Well, I guarantee a Clutch record's going to be in there.
His head
Exactly.
might explode when he does it.
Yeah. Well, you
Yeah.
know, a Beatles record's going to be in there, and a Clutch record's going to be in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I love when Aaron does that because he can't like help himself. It's got to be like 100 of my favorite albums from 1995.
Well, Gary, that's not a bad idea. Maybe that should be our first live stream of the year. We all are on, and we show our top 10 albums of all time.
With no honorable mentions and all.
No, just what we feel are the top 10 albums of all time. Yeah.
Now, see, I've already got a headache just thinking about
Yeah, that's difficult.
That would be really hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact that Outfield had 8 or 9 LPs, that's kind of like, you know, the whole when a tree falls in the forest, you know, nobody hears it. Who's heard more than like after Voices of Babylon? Does anybody even?
Well, I'm surprised you even know the title, Voices of Babylon.
I'm not proud of that. I'm just saying. But well, they've only got one member left. Like two of the biggest members died. Like the guy who wrote the songs and the guy who sang them. Like the drummer is the only one left. So he can do whatever the hell. He could go out and tour on the Outfield. Nobody could stop him, but nobody would go either. The Outfield, who the hell is that?
Aaron says he is watching. And he says, I'm already working on my top 1,000 albums in my collection. Aaron, that's what we love about you, brother.
Maybe if we like say we will donate so much money to Aaron's favorite charity, he makes his top 10 albums.
And he keeps it to 10.
Yeah, Men at Work. There's another one. I got to do a Men at Work deep dive, right?
Men at Work.
What about a deep dive on Nickelback?
Well, I'm going to do a deep dive, and it's going to be when you least expect it, but I'm going to do it so earnestly. It's going to be on like one of the least substantial bands ever, but I'm going to do it like so laser focused. I'm going to whip out like all this trivia and totally.
That would be amazing. It would be amazing too if it was really shocking, like you're like Pretty Boy Floyd. And like Pretty Boy Floyd started in 1984 in LA. Really blow us away.
Or Jack Pyle.
Yeah, Jack Pyle.
Deep dive on Jack Pyle.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
actually got an interesting story. I won't say anything just in case you make a video.
Well, and we can't say it on the air either.
Right.
So, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, this was a fun video. 2022. You guys around next week, or we gonna pick things up in January?
Next week I'm in Cleveland.
Yeah, I'm going to my kid's concert next week.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, everybody hear that? Chris's kid is more important than all of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, VC. My kids are, well, my daughter's a senior in high school, so this is her last concert. And
oh man,
you're gonna cry.
You got a busy year ahead of you.
Yeah, so I'd be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Rebecca, I can't come tonight because I'm doing a VC video." So
Yeah.
sorry.
I might be open to it. I don't know.
All right.
Well, Gary, happy birthday, brother.
Yeah, happy
Thank you.
birthday, Gary.
Yeah, happy birthday. I forgot to say, maybe we did at the top of the hour. I don't know, but nonetheless, hey Tony, how you doing?
Tony, we were just talking
Hey,
about
Tony, just talking to you.
What's up, Tony?
We were
about
talking about how much we envy you, and we need to see your wife on video. One day the Queen needs to go downstairs.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
Only
we love
because
you, brother.
we're afraid she doesn't really exist. So
Well, it'd be interesting to hear what her viewpoints are on some of the records.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to hear. I'd like to see a few people's wives come on and talk a little bit.
Yeah.
Without
I could have my ex-wife on.
There you go.
Yeah.
Tell us all the things that made you want.
So what did Chris do that pissed you off? Was it that he
I'm
listened?
sorry,
Was it?
Chris.
Did he listen to Wasp too loud?
Well, what's funny is Michelle and Tony are both Steelers fans. And
Oh.
whenever I'm watching Tony's videos, Michelle's like, I love that man. I'm like, yeah, I know. It's because you and him love the Steelers. Come on.
I'm a Denver fan. I don't even know if I should say that.
Yeah.
Not this year.
Not the past 6 years.
Yeah, man. Well, you thought Russell Wilson was going to be the answer, but apparently not.
Nope.
No.
Denied.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, thanks for dropping by, Tony. Check out Tony's channel for 2 from the Trunk. Check out 3 Dimensions of Music.
Yeah.
Check out CGC Vinyl Guy. Check out Prime Analog Records. CBCD. Check out, everybody's got a channel on here. Let's spread the and probably you're already subscribed to everybody's channel. But you know, still, let's get Gary. Damn it. If anybody here is not subscribed to Gary, will you please, for the love of God, go over there and give him a sub?
For the love of God.
It's his birthday.
I did
Come
this
on.
dumbass.
Sylvia rules.
We could do a video thread. You know what I mean? We'll start it this weekend.
Yeah.
He's over there making those videos. Nobody's watching him. Somebody go help this poor son of a bitch out. God. It's his
Yeah.
birthday.
Yeah, Tony, I'm coming to Pittsburgh. Actually, I think I'm coming in February. So if you're going to be in the area, maybe we can meet up at a record store.
If it was me, I would go to Tony's house, and hopefully they're making spaghetti while you're there.
The Queen wouldn't let me in the door. Are you kidding? She'd take one look at me and be like, "I'm calling the cops."
Well, and you know what you'd be doing? You'd be listening to Linda Ronstadt all night. So
I'm fine with
I'm cool
that.
with that.
I'm Linda Ronstadt.
Yeah. Who doesn't like Linda?
I can't wait to hang with Tony. Tony, I promise you I'll come visit. Definitely.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. All right. Well, thanks, guys. And
Thank you.
thanks for joining us. Thanks, Aaron, for dropping by as well. Thanks, everybody who joined us on our live stream tonight. You guys are the best, and I know it's the same crew, so you guys are so loyal, and I appreciate you guys stepping in, and I appreciate you guys are funnier than we are with all your comments, all your smart ass comments.
Pablo Cruz.
oh,
Yeah,
Sylvia rules.
Sylvia rules. Yeah. All right, guys.
Chris and Pablo Cruz.
Yeah. Have a good one.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everyone. That was funny.